Welcome to Mr. Kakalides short story time. I'm your host, Mr. Kakalides, and today we're going to listen to some really sad stories. I got 3 of them for you. Why are you crying?
Today's stories are really sad.
Well, don't cry. Let's listen to the introduction.
Mr. Kakalides Short Story Time Show 01. Mr. Kakalides Short Story Time Show 01.
Okay, now, the 3 stories that we're going to hear are the following.
The stories of this program that will be heard are the following to be enjoyed. The Train of No Return. The Marriage Arrangement. A Puppy Story.
Let's go straight to our story. Our first story, which it's called The Last Train or The Train of No Return, is a story about death. We all have to go through death, and it's something that is good to talk to your kids about, to prepare them for the future, because we all have to die, and it's good for them to know Jesus and to know what lies after death, that it's not a place of sorrow after death. It's a place of joy, of bliss, if you know Jesus. So let's go to our first story, The Last Train, or it could be called The Train of No Return.
The Train of No Return. A man speaks to his wife as she breathes her last to enter the train of no return. "You are about to go soon, I will miss you," he said. She answered, "But I will wait for you on the other side." "I don't want you to go," he says as tears falls down his cheeks. "I must go, I don't have a choice. The king is calling me to enter his kingdom through this train. I must enter and go to him. In time you will start over and have other in my place if the Lord wills." Sobbing sounds are heard as he cries, as he holds her hand and sees her grip loosing, getting lesser every second that passes by till she had left in the train of no return. From the arms of her husband on earth to arms of the King of Heaven. Where those who she loved who gone in the train of no return she will meet as a family reunion that never ends but more are seen as they come out of the train of no return. Angels of different kinds there she shall see. Seraphims with their 6 wings and cherubims as she is about to approach her king. There the tears are wiped away and a sudden joy is felt. All illness is gone with any pain and real life is began. As one awakes from a dream, so is this life that goes like a vapor. A white garments and crowns are given to those who will see the king as they enter the train of no return. For those who in their life have had many trials and suffering, this is a place of our rest. As the years passes, the man as well enters this train. It should be expected for you, and I must in time to hear this train approaching. This train has 2 different routes, one to heaven for those who love the king, and one to hell for those who hate the king. So as we see the train of no return approaching ever so near, we should not weep as those who have no hope if we love the king, who will meet us at the end, with his arms open wide as he says, "Well done, my son or daughter, it's time to enter into the joy of your Lord." 2 Corinthians chapter 5 verse 8. We are confident, yes, well pleased rather to be absent from the body and to be present with the Lord. Philippians chapter 1 verses 21 to 23. For to me to live is Christ and to die is gain. But if I live on in the flesh, this will mean fruit from my labor, yet what I shall choose I cannot tell. For I am hard pressed between the 2, having a desire to depart and be with Christ, which is far better. Let's start at our quiz. 1. Where do those who love and serve Jesus go when they die? 2. Where do those who don't love and serve Jesus go when they die? 3. Did the man in the story get on board the train just like his wife when she died? 4. What did the wife of the man saw after she took the train of no return?
If you want, you could write those quiz questions down and remember and think of the story through. It's lots of good questions to discuss among your family. What do you thought about this story?
That was a great story.
Don't weep, please. Okay, I've cried enough too. I know how it is to cry. Anyway, our next story. I believe is the marriage arrangement. It's a great story. It's about love overcoming hate, and I think we all need a lesson on this. Let's listen to this story.
2. The marriage arrangement. 2 Jewish babies were born. One a beautiful girl, the other a handsome boy from 2 different sets of parents. At the hospital, the parents of the babies made an arrangement that when their children was old enough, they should marry. Hands were shook, and a cup of wine sealed the deal later, on which they drank outside the hospital. The baby girl's name was Tina, and baby boy's name was Michael. As they grew, they was told not to fall in love with no one else. Tina was faithful to that command, but Michael found it a burden he wished to be loosed from, which he tried to debate with his parents' reasons why it wouldn't work out, and sworn in his heart that when the marriage came he was to make Tina life such a living hell that she would file for a divorce. And in doing so he would look like the innocent party, while Tina looked like the one breaking off the arrangement and the one to accused. While in Tina's heart she sworn that she would love him unconditionally and win his heart no matter what may come. The age came when both was to marry, and in front of a rabbi, in the synagogue ceremony of both Tina and Michael came to be. The rabbi said the 7 blessings, Baruch atah Adonai, Emzameik Chatan Imhakala. Blessed are you, Lord our God, sovereign of the universe, who created joy and gladness, groom and bride, mirth, song, delight and rejoicing, love and harmony and peace and companionship. Tina looked and smiled at Michael while Michael tried to look away. The couple stood under the huppah, a canopy beneath which Jewish marriage ceremonies are performed. As blessings were given by the rabbi and the groom, which was Michael, placed the wedding ring on the Tina's finger, which he did with such brutality that her finger started to hurt. As the ceremony was coming to an end, both Tina and Michael was told to step on a glass inside a cloth bag and to shatter it. Some see this as representing the destruction of the temple in Jerusalem. Michael saw it as the destruction that was to be of Tina, if she did not divorce him soon. As they left in the limousine, she looked in love at him with her beautiful blue eyes, and he smirked at her with altered disgust. As she went to hold his hand, she felt his hands pull away. And he said, "When you said I do, you sign up for hell." Hate was in his heart, and he did not see the beautiful treasure he held. A woman of untold worth which all the money of this world could not buy. In response she replied, "I am going to win your heart in time, you will see." The days of the marriage turned to weeks. Every word of hatred and cursing he gave to her was replied with words of love. He would come home late and drunk, she would not complain, but prayers to God with tears was often in her lips. A great meal was often seen when he got home, and the house kept nice and clean. He tried to look for her imperfections but found none. At times he would beat her, but still she would stay. She would often try to hug him, but his heart was as an iceberg which in time would melt away. At work he would hear his friends complain about their wives, but when he tried to say something bad to say about her, what would come to his mind was his actions towards her and her response of love. At first every hug and kiss was pushed away, but in time he let it be. But after a while his feelings was changed and he didn't knew what was happening, but love was conquering hate. When she would tell him, "I love you," he would always replied with, "In time you would stop and see it as a waste of time." At moments she felt like quitting, but a flame in her kept telling her to love. After a long time in passing, when she would say, "I love you," to shut her up, he would reply, "I love you too, now let me be." As the months passed, she was pregnant with a child. She came to him with news. And thinking of what he would say or do, she was surprised to see him with joy and tears, telling her with a sobbing sound, "Forgive me for all I done and said." 1 Peter chapter 3 verses 1 to 2 NKJV. Wives likewise, be submissive to your own husbands, that even if some do not obey the word, they without a word may be won by the conduct of their wives, when they observe your chaste conduct accompanied by fear. Romans chapter 12 verse 21. Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. 1. How do you overcome evil? 2. Why was Michael so evil towards Tina? 3. How did Tina win the heart of Michael? 4. Does unconditional love change people?
I think it should be understood that we need to show love towards people. And I want to interview at least one person from the audience to get their take on what they thought about this story. And here, let me interview you, brother. What do you think about this story? About Tina's persistence on loving Michael, even though Michael was really a jerk.
Whoa, what a powerful story, and what a great lesson.
That's the same thing I think about this story. It's a powerful story with a great lesson. And we're going to go to our next story. It's called A Puppy Story. And that one also has a powerful lesson. It teaches us about the providence of God, that God is truly sovereign over all our conditions. Let's listen to A Puppy Story.
3. A Puppy Story. Providence means the protective care of God over the events of our life. There was once a female dog who gave birth to 2 puppies in a pound. Within a few weeks, the family was separated to different families. One puppy was taken by a little girl who named her dog Poochie, and the other some old grumpy man who named his dog Spike. And the mother, in seeing her 2 puppies gone, escaped the pound to go search for her 2 missing lads. Poochie was loved by the little girl whose family had bought him and grew up spoiled, high class, and never missing a meal. Spike grew up not loved, beaten and abused, and when given a chance left his home and took the streets. Meanwhile, the puppy's mother searched the street day and night and searched for her 2 puppies who was now grown. Spike became skilled at walking the streets and at times eating food from the trash to survive. Though at times he was hungry, but he knew freedom and became hateful to humans, saying, "All humans are evil, can't be trusted, has destroyed my family, and I know this to be true." While Poochie was always warm on cold days and cool on hot days, never missing food but not free at home. But at times Poochie felt bored and wondered to himself, "I wonder how it feels to be free." One day Poochie looked outside the window and seeing a dog who looked just like him but dirty eating from his trash. At this, Poochie took his head outside the window and began to bark. "Why are you eating from my trash? Who gave you such a right, and who are you?" In response, the other dog replies, "My name is Spike. What is yours, you prisoner of society, and I am trying to find food to survive. While you stay in your prison, I enjoy freedom." Poochie replies, "Freedom from a house, I wonder how that feels. Can we switch places for a day or 2 or maybe a week? I love my home, but I'm just a little curious how your life might be." Spike answered, "Does your human beat dogs? Because if she or he does, I will make them part of my meal." Poochie replies, "My human loves me, feeds me, showing me love and caring for me. But you hurt my human, you will have a problem with me." So the 2 decided to switch places for a day, then a week. In time they both became friends and continued to make the switch time and time again. It was fate that brought them together. On the first day, Spike was taken a bath before the switch so the plan might work. Because Poochie said, "Buddy, for the plan to work you need to bathe, for you stink." In reply, Spike answered, "My smell is me, but for a high-class meal I'm willing to bathe." Now Poochie was in the streets, walking without a leash and digging in trash cans and saying, "This is fun. Now I know what to do whenever I want out," and Spike was at home, loved for the first time, fed and groomed, saying, "This is the life, and not all humans are as bad as I thought. Now I know what to do, to once in a while to feel loved and get a meal without having to go in filth." As Poochie was in the streets one day, a strange old lady dog looked at him seeking to smell him and said, "Son, is that you?" Poochie replied, "I feel I know you, but from where I don't know." In reply she said, "I am your mother, and you are one of my missing sons. It was to you when I gave birth long ago." Poochie in tears cried, "Mama, I dreamed of this day. And I think I know where we can find my brother, and his name is Spike. We switch places time and time again." As they walked home, Spike looked outside the window and said, "Who is that old lady I see with Poochie, my buddy? I feel a bond with her. Like I know her." As his mother yelled his name, Spike jumped outside the window and yelled, "Mama, it must be you I know." At this, the family was united in a weird way. Tears of joy for the first time were seen. Now what to do with Mama, because she was old and needed a home. So they decided to wait for the human little girl who was now an adult. Would she let them all live together, or would she say, "It is time to go"? As she opened the door and saw the family united, she stood in awe and knew in her heart the family needs to stay, so they all stood. And the moral of the story is everything that happens is not by chance. For God has his ways of making everything work out good in the end. Genesis chapter 50 verse 20. But as for you, you meant evil against me, but God meant it for good in order to bring it about as it is this day, to save many people alive. Romans chapter 8 verse 28. And we know that all things work together for good to those who love God, to those who are the called according to his purpose. 1. Is God able to turn our bad situations to something good? 2. What is the definition of providence? 3. What are some examples of providence in the story? 4. What are the characteristics of both Poochie and Spike?
What a great story with a great ending. Understanding that God is truly sovereign over all our situations. He's not just sovereign over some situation. No, he's sovereign over everything. And he ordains what comes to pass. And with this, we'll end today's program. God bless everyone. This is Mr. Kakalides. And you was hearing the program, Mr. Kakalides' Short Story Time. I will try to have this podcast every Sunday so we could hear at least these stories till it's possibly finished. There's about 51 stories in all. The Lord bless you, and see you next time on Mr. Kakalides' Short Story Time. Bye.